Last Man Standing is a mode that's changed a lot since the last time I covered it, which was in Season 5. So it's about time that we revisit Last Man Standing and show you the best ways as a free-to-play and a pay-to-play player to get to the best rewards you possibly can. But we've also got a massive surprise for you if you enjoyed the Clash of Champions app that was made for that ranked event. And I'll be revealing that in this video. But I need to ask a huge favor of you. If this guide goes on to help you, please do hit the like button, or even if you just enjoy the video. And let me know where you're in your current Last Man Standing and who the card was for. So rank 155 with Rhea. I don't know, the next one might be the Gobbledygooker. And if you do, I'll drop you a heart just to say thanks. Like this. But first, I wanted to show you something I got yesterday from a friend. You ready? It's a metamorph button. Legend says that anyone who presses this will be turned into their ultimate mythical form. And I have absolutely no idea what that means, so why not? It's gotta be something cool, right? Big red button, do your thing. Whoa! My mythical form is a duck. It's okay, I can change it back. Where's that red button? Where is it? Oh, duck. I know I should have cleared this room up. Now, once I fix this shucky ducky situation, you guys can find out more about mythical characters from the sponsor of today's video, Raid Shadow Legends. This month, Raid is introducing mythical champions that can metamorph between two crazy forms, both of which have their own different type and skills, such as Siegfried, who could change from a damage-dealing knight to a flaming angel healer, or me, who changes from a JB into a duck. You can summon these new mythical champions from brand new red primal shards. Wait, so I can use one of these to get back to me? Well, why didn't you say this before? Anyway, there's 5 mythical champions to start with, and each have 2 forms, so that's 10 different types of champions. Collect these now by downloading Raid for free using this QR code or link in the description down below. New players can also grab the epic champion Stag Knight, along with a special skin personally designed by YouTube legend JonTron. Enter the promo code on screen after you jump in for the first time or before October the 7th. But wait, there's more? Wow. Okay. Yes, if you log in for 7 different days between now and October 23rd, you'll get the legendary Sun Wukong free, and that's just for opening and closing the game. So, what are you waiting for? There's never been a better time to be a raider, and by using my link in the comments or description down below, or scan this QR code just there, new players will get extra bonus items and the epic champion Big thank to the guys at Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you in the arena once I've got all these feathers off me. So let's get started off with what I think are the 3 most important parts of playing Last Man Standing. Deck balance. Deck balance is the most important part of this game mode. You could come into the game as a fresh player with a balanced deck in a low tier in the game and still get the cards. It's one of the only events that allows you to do that in SuperCard. The first point of deck balance is try to keep your cards within the same points range. When I say points, I'm talking about stats. So if half your cards have 100 million of stat points, you want to have every card in your deck have roughly the same points, regardless of whether they're Royal Rumble tier or WrestleMania tier or common tier or whatever. There's ways of manipulating that, like momentum switching, changing your equipment around. Like, for example, this Jimmy Uso could have been my most powerful card, but I've chosen to drop him from my momentum slots and focus those on my ladies instead. He also changed to a right arrow in the last event, so I put him back to a yellow arrow using, if you see here, these arrow changes. These are not easy to get, but you should get some of them through general play in the game or special events. If you get one, use it for events like this, Giants Unleashed, Clash of Champions, or even War Games. Switching up and removing equipment are the reason why this Ricochet makes my deck and not my several 4 to 5 3 cards that are way more powerful. And again, you can do this in any deck. It could be a Royal Rumble 22 deck. It could be a WrestleMania 37 deck. All you need to do is make sure that any more powerful cards you get, levels of stats don't exceed the best card you got at the moment. Getting to the top tier in the game is always great, don't get me wrong, but balancing your climb to the top is much better and a much easier way to push yourself than doing a crazy speed run. I will, however, say this is the best last man standing deck I have ever run, mainly due to the equipment switching. I've been able to change Seth Rollins from a right arrow to an up arrow, Katana Chance to a right arrow. My momentum slots are full, which means I've been able to use them for the female cards, which are unfortunately where most people fall down. Another important thing to say about deck balance is that your women's cards and men's cards can be completely different levels. So your men's cards could be the level of Royal Rumble 22s, and your ladies could be Octane tier. Again, as long as they're balanced in their own separate sections, you'll be facing up against cards very similar to yours. But if you have one female superstar that's like 300 million stats or one that's 50 million, then you're gonna have problems. Arrow balance is much harder, but if you can get 2 ups, 2 downs, 2 lefts, and 2 rights, to optimize on compatible tags, and for the ladies focus on 2 arrows specifically, such as up and downs or left and rights, you're going to have a much easier time playing last man standing. The next big part is preparation, and I mean preparation in knowing what you're coming up against in future arenas and current arenas. How many reveals you need, how many blocks you need, should you use a multiplier on this arena? All of this is incredibly important, which is why I'm happy to reveal to you that me and SuperCard Database have worked on something. I have to give him most of the credit, I have to be honest with you, because he makes the site, and we've worked on a last man standing guide that is as detailed as possible. Every arena is detailed from start to finish, including how to get the best streaks, how many obstacles, and how many blocks and reveals you're going to need to make it out of each arena, all the way from number 1 to number 100. This combines various community tools that we've had for a long time, and I do have to give a shout out to the only known person that I've ever known to make one of these guides, and that is Cali Swag, who originally came up with this guide. But with this, we decided to make it a little bit more detailed and easier to read for casual players. Simply pull up SuperCard Database using the link in the description or comments down below. Go to the last man standing guide section, and there it is in front of you. Every arena is on a drop down section. All you gotta do is press the one you're on, and that will tell you how many reveals you need to get off the draft board, how many blocks you need, maybe whether you need to back out and get yourself a super move. To give you an example of how this works, earlier on I was on arena 55, and when you move to 56, the amount of obstacles increases. This told me that I had to use the blocks and reveals later in that arena to get the best streak possible. For latter arenas, this is more important as the amount of obstacles and reveals and blocks required are way more, which is probably a good time to say that your free packs are going to be essential to make sure you got enough blocks and reveals. There's 2 every 4 hours, includes a free block and a free reveal. So that's 2 of each every 4 hours. Might not sound like a lot, but when you're in the latter stages, it's going to be essential. But if this guide has helped you so far, why not subscribe to the channel? We run guides throughout every single month for even the smallest of SuperCard events or event modes in general. But it's not the only wrestling game we cover, so if you want to make sure you're notified every time new wrestling game content comes out, not just the guides, hit that notification bell. Moving on to the final point, and probably the most important point, streaks. Because the higher the point streaks and the more discipline you show with the point streaks and knowledge of each arena, especially using that guide, will be the difference between you getting the card or not getting the card. Regardless of whether you're spending tens of thousands of credits or playing completely free to play. Like I said earlier, it is so vital you use blocks, reveals, and multipliers if you use them in the right moment. Thankfully, there are only 5 arenas where it is impossible to pass in last man standing now, compared to when I did my last guide, where your progress is not guaranteed as long as you beat every opponent. And no, you're not going to go through the entire event undefeated, and you will have to restart some arenas at some point. Point streaks are going to make sure you go as far as possible with the best strategy possible. So I'll use an example from my stream last night where I got to Arena 68. This guarantees you will lose at least 4 hearts, and you'll need at least 2 reveals and 2 blocks. So the strategy was use no blocks, no reveals until I'd lost those 4 hearts. It's at that point you use the reveals and blocks, and then you've got a clean path all the way to the end. So long as you beat every opponent from that point on, you'll get the maximum streak and maximum points. But if you decide to use credits for multipliers, then you need to be using them on the right arenas. I'd say start using multipliers around Arena 18 to 20. From there, choose any arena to use them on using those tactics I just mentioned and the guide, but then be cautious of using it around Arena 55 to 64 and stop completely around Arena 65 and 67. There's just too much of a risk. Start around 68, but then stop between 74 and 75, then restarting from arenas 80 to 90, where things become really tough. But what if you're not able to use a block and reveal? Or you're trying to get to that sweet spot where you can use your reveals and blocks, but you've won 6 games in a row? Well, that's down to you how much you want to risk it, but personally, I never go beyond 5 games. That's when the points really start to tally up, but that's only when you don't have blocks and reveals helping you. So those are the 3 most important parts of LMS, but there is one thing I've not mentioned, and those are the arenas
from hell.
Those final arenas on your way from 95 to 100 are not guaranteed, even if you beat everyone and use your blocks and reveals. Honestly, it really is hit and hope. My personal way of doing it is to use my reveals and blocks early, where you've got more choices on the board, and this really is RNG. And after Arena 100, well, it's that for eternity. So just personally, I stop at Arena 100 and put my feet up. The game just gives no incentive to go beyond that. And that's a reason why streaks are so important, as I mentioned, because at some point you're gonna hit that wall and you want as many points beforehand as you can possibly get. So I really hope this helps you, and I want to say a huge thanks to SuperCard Database for again allowing something that I envisioned creating come to life. You'll find that link in the top of the comment section or in the description down below. But if this guide goes on to help you, then please do hit the thumbs up, because it tells me you want to see more guides just like this. And don't forget to let me know in the comments what LMS you're playing for. Could it be Rhea or a future one, and what rank you're at the moment. Anyway, go have an amazing last man standing, and I will see you guys real soon. I've been JB. You've been awesome. Catch you then. Peace out.